right, for my fruit empanadas, what I'm doing is I'm just chopping up some strawberries. Just gonna try and sing the song from Porgy and Bess, but I figured it'd go over a whole bunch of people's heads. So I'm just gonna chop them up and tell y'all that I'm chopping my strawberries. Now, these are big chunks. I'm gonna chop them even smaller. And I was trying to decide whether I wanted to make a fruit compote, which is basically where you cook the fruit with the sugar, a little bit of lemon juice sometimes, or water, or some other juice. Sometimes people use orange juice, sometimes people use liqueur. That was an ugly face. But I'm just gonna chop my strawberries and sprinkle them with a little bit of sugar because I wanna try and keep the strawberry essence, the essence of the berry in this that I'm doing right now. So I'm chopping up my strawberries, and I'm gonna also put blueberries in because blueberries are, you know, delicious and delightful, and they're a superfood, so you should try and get as much of them as you can daily. I've turned my oil on to medium high so it can heat up because even though I am baking the other ones, I'm frying these. The objective is to try and give them that kind of McDonald's apple pie kind of feel to it. Maybe about 1 package of strawberries would be good. I bought 2 just so I could make sure I could get the best of the strawberries, and also so I can have a piece or 2 for garnish when I start plating them in a minute. Once we get these going, I'm gonna make the pico de gallo, which is basically a very, very super fresh salsa to go with my empanadas. I'm just gonna slice the blueberries in half, which is going to be tedious, but I'll do it because, you know, I want that fresh blueberry flavor. Plus, when you cook them, I don't want the blueberries to swell up while they're being fried and then pop and possibly scald someone. So if they're cut, they will cook a little bit better. So now I've got all my nice little strawberries and blueberries chopped up, and I'm just gonna add a little bit of sugar to it to make it pop a little bit more. I was fortunate to get some blueberries that were really sweet, so I don't have to add too much to them. I'm gonna add probably about a 1/4 cup of sugar, maybe a little bit less. I'm gonna eyeball it though. So I've got my 1/4 cup. I don't want to add too much sugar because I am going to add some sweetness to the, I'm going to add some sweetness to the outside. You don't want to put so much that it starts to get crunchy with sugar, but you do want to add enough that it, you know, you coats and you can start to see it getting a little stickier. So I might not need the whole 1/4 cup. A little sprinkle more. A little sprinkle me, baby. Sprinkle me, baby. All right. I swear by using crescent rolls. Like, I'll use crescent rolls for everything. If it's not pie crust, it's crescent rolls. I'm using them for something in my life at all times. So imagine my delight when I went to the grocery store and found that they had crescent rolls in a seamless sheet. So instead of having to mash them all together and rework the dough and everything else, I get it in a nice little sheet. I'm super excited about this. Like, excited beyond belief about this. So I've got a little floured cookie sheet. Shout out to my producer for reminding me to flour my cookie sheet. And I'm just gonna roll this out. See, nice and pretty. Hold on, I'm checking on my empanadas in the oven. Ooh, look at how pretty they are. I'm gonna give one more coat of egg wash to the bottom ones because they're not browning up quite as nicely as I would like them to. You may have to re-stir your egg wash as you go through because you don't want to get, like I said before, big clumps of egg on anything you're doing. Okay, so I'm just going to use my glass to cut little teeny discs because I don't want these to be as big as the ones for the entree. All right, so I've got my fruit filling and I've got my little bitty empanada dessert shells that are going to be flaky because they're made with the croissant. Le croissant, le croissant. I know it's le poisson, people. I'm a Little Mermaid fan, but I'm going to change it for my purposes. Le croissant, le croissant. So I'm just going to take a little spoon, teaspoonish of this, and I threw that fork away that I will probably need in a moment. And you're going to seal them up. I'm going to press it in just a minute. Now, because the crescent roll dough is so light and sticky, you don't need to use the water on it the way that you had to for the pie crust. Just a little bit like this. Ooh, that's all. Pinky balls. All right, so now that I've finished pressing up my little fruit empanadas, we're gonna go ahead and drop them in the heat. It's nice and warm because I had it preheating. See how they pop up all nice and flaky? This pan that I'm using is very near and dear to my heart because this is Lita's empanada pan. So you wanna, ooh, That one got a little too brown too quickly. You want to make sure your oil doesn't get too hot, because then you'll have the problem I'm having where they're getting a little scorched, but that's okay. There's always, the first batch is always the sacrificial lambs. Take this one out. Put it on here to dry. And I've got a little cinnamon sugar mix that I'm going to sprinkle on them. Ooh. So I'm just dropping these in the grease. Oh, the grease was right on cue with this sound effect. And you want them to basically get kind of golden on both sides. Think of it kind of like a filled beignet. That's exactly what it is. It's a empanada filled beignet or something. We're working on the name. The name is a work in progress, but you want them to come out golden like this one. This one has a little bit more time on this side. And if you have a deep fryer or something, you can certainly use those. I've never been great with the deep fryers. There's an empanada story about me not being great with the deep fryer, but I'm going to save it because I don't want the parties involved to be incriminated. Yeah, it was that bad of a story. And while we're waiting for my empanadas to come out the oven, I'm going to make my pico de gallo, and then we're done for the day. So I have these Campari tomatoes that I've rinsed already. You're going to need fresh cilantro. You're going to need jalapenos, and you're going to need onion. Okay? I'm going to cut my tomatoes into small chunks. Everything is always in small chunks with me, isn't it? Small chunks. The reason I'm using Campari tomatoes as opposed to another type is because Campari are really sweet, and with the cilantro and the pepper and the adobo that we're going to add to it, I want something that's going to be a little bit just not super sweet. I mean, they're not like candy sweet. They're not sweet like our beignet empanadas, but they are a little sweeter than most tomatoes. Oops. Chop my cilantro finely. When I say fresh cilantro, probably about 3 stalks, 3 strands, 3 branches, however you want to refer to it, and you're going to chop it as finely as you can. And yes, I am chopping it in the seeds where the tomatoes were because it's all going to be mixed together anyway. So usually for the integrity of a dish, I would try to make sure that the ingredients were all kept separate, but in the case of this, in the case of salsas, it doesn't really matter so much. And again, if you don't have fresh cilantro, you can use probably about, I'd say, a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of dried cilantro. So I'm going to chop up my pepper. I don't have my trusty gloves today, so I'm going to have to make sure I don't scratch my face afterwards, because that would be bad business. Just 1 large yellow onion that I am peeling. And you're going to notice I'm not going to cut the end, because I've always been told that if you cut the root of the onion, that's what it is that makes you cry. So in order to keep from tearing up and making this lovely makeup done by Flawless by DW run all down my face, I want to make sure that I am not going to do that. Also keep my fingers out the way. Ooh. So now I'm going to dice a little bit of garlic to add to my pico de gallo. And I'm stirring it all up. And to this, I'm going to add probably about a teaspoon to two teaspoons of adobo. So just gonna eyeball it a little bit. Stir it all up to get the delightful flavor. My pico de gallo is done now. So now I'm going to plate up my empanadas because they should be ready to come out. Oh, look how golden they are. Yay, lovely. And I'm going to put them on my plate. Give a little pico de gallo. You can also serve these with guacamole if you like. And I'm going to plate up my dessert empanadas too. There you have it. Lita's empanadas done the cute cook way. I'm Lauren. This has been the Cute Cook in the Kitchen. Always remember to keep it cute.